So when you come into my courtroom, you ought to know the letter of the law. I'll react harshly when you don't.
You should.
This week's Torah portion includes the famous phrase, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdof. Justice, justice, you shall pursue. Interestingly, the sages in the Talmud explain that that phrase is referring to the obligation for litigants to seek the best possible court. The court that has the wisest and most experienced judges. Now that's interesting. It sounds like the sages are limiting the application of the phrase. Without their explanation, we would think that it applies across the board to all areas of life, in court and out of court. And even if the phrase does only apply to court, why limit its applicability just to venue, choosing the right court, instead of explaining that it refers to all court-related matters? But if you scratch beneath the surface, you'll see that the sages are teaching us a very important lesson. Why wouldn't a litigant want the best possible court with the best possible judge? The answer is that litigants want to win. In the US and in other countries, the battleground of the courtroom is not focused on anything other than resolution. We want a winner, and unfortunately, we also have to have necessarily a loser. And so litigants are looking for the best court for them. The court where they have the best chance of winning, even though it may not be the best court with the best judge. The sages are telling us that in the Torah system, it's different. Our primary objective shouldn't be resolution, it should be the truth. The best court with the best judge, the wisest, most experienced judge, has a much better chance of getting it right. A lesser court with a lesser judge increases the chances that you're going to have an unjust outcome. The litigant that should have lost may win, and that's a disaster. That's something that we should all be trying to avoid. Earlier in the Torah, Moshe, is approached by his father-in-law Yisro, who criticizes him. He says, "What are you doing? You're spending all day judging the people." And Yisro successfully proposes a new system, a hierarchy of judges below Moshe. If you look at that scene, you say to yourself, somewhat uncomfortably, boy, the Jews must have been awfully litigious in the wilderness during those 40 years to keep Moshe busy judging cases all day long. But some of the commentators say, yes, Moshe was busy, but not for the reason you think. This was the type of case that he was judging. A person would buy something from someone else and then would see that inside the seller had accidentally left some item of value. So the buyer would go back to the seller and say, "Listen, you made a mistake. I bought that thing from you, but I found some other valuable item inside. I want to return it to you." And the seller would say, "Oh no, I sold it to you as is. Yes, I made a mistake and I'm not thrilled about it, but it's yours. You bought it. You get to keep it." And the buyer would say, "God forbid, I'm not going to keep it. It doesn't belong to me." And so they'd agree, let's go to Moshe so we can find out the truth. We can get the answer. What should we do? Those are the types of cases that Moshe was judging. Cases where people were interested in the truth, not in resolution. And so we, all of us, litigants and potential litigants alike, people claiming to seek justice, but really just seeking a win, should stop and remember, justice, justice, you shall pursue.
That is a lucid, intelligent, well thought out objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Overruled.